Here's a secret that I wish I knew while hiring 431 sales reps throughout my career. Let's start with where you're at right now. Your HR system is consistent of four things that you're currently doing. It's not getting you any qualified A plus players, and your churn rate is extremely high within a few weeks or a few months when the sales rep doesn't perform, makes no income. So one, you have no clue who your ICP is as in the customer, and you have no clue who your ICP is, an ideal candidate profile is. The second one is you have no consistent talent pool, which means you only hire who you work with, then you start looking for another one when the other one leaves. The third one is your interview and your onboarding process is not congruent to the culture, to the standards and expectations that you guys have. Hence why, just like any sales call, you're starting a relationship with a rep with no frame. And finally is your ramp up and training is terrible, right? You're either taking too long to ramp up or too soon to ramp up, and your training doesn't really pick up the momentum of where a new rep can come in and excel in. And this is something I learned from, B2B to B2C to high-end sales reps between the age of 20 all the way up to the age of 45, between across, multiple companies that I worked with. So the way how I do it simply is, one is I need to understand the ICP between the ideal customer and the ideal candidate profile. And if it doesn't match, for me, that's the answer itself. The closer or the setter has to sound and understand and look like the client, and vice versa, which means if your company's targeting higher demographic, your setter and closer has to have the ideal look-alike. It sounds the same, and they understand one another, because that's what the first thing a client either hears or sees, and vice versa. So step two is before you even decide to acquire people, you need to treat your sales talent pool the same way you treat a funnel to acquire leads. What does that mean? You mean you need to build a landing page or a website that does two things: the offer breakdown and expectation. So the way it will look like is pretty much running ads to it or even organically. And this is what I do for my companies is I'll build a landing page. I'll call it the sales talent funnel. And of course, we'll have creatives in place. We'll have full content for it. If it's Instagram, we'll do the stories or DMs or whatnot, where we push this landing page where people can come in. It has a headline of who we are, the company info. It has an intro video that explains everything that we do, who we are, who we're looking for, the culture, what expectations, and everything. The CTA button to fill up the survey. And then in the bottom, it has expectations, company value, and culture in written. And it has, if we had any company trips, any, important thing about a rep that was with us for a while and, got married or traveled, bought his dream car or something like that, we put that in place. So now, the same way we attract qualified clients, we attract qualified A players. And then once they see that funnel, they go to the assessment, and I pretty much broke this down in two sections. The first section is before you begin, this assessment evaluates judgment, discovery, objection handling, communication, and commercial awareness. Select the response that most closely reflects how you handle each situation. So there's an expectation what the form is for. Full name, email, phone number. Then they select their position. If it's setter, they put setter. They have to put a profile photo, an introduction loom, and then a role play loom. It can be just by themselves, role playing in certain situations that I put there in place. But if they click closer, the introduction loom stays the same, but then the role play changes. And not only just that, too, when they click on start the assessment, they have the 20 questionnaire survey that is timed by 45 seconds. If that 45 seconds leaves, then the answer is marked and answered, and it moves forward. Once they complete the assessment, it grades it. And on my admin dashboard, I can see the date that they filled up the survey, the name, the picture, the role, the introduction looms, and then as well as the 20 questionnaire survey that they filled up. Reason being is for two things. One, if someone goes through this whole process, they took the extra mile, I respect that a lot more than someone that wouldn't want to fill it up. And you'll be surprised. A lot of people wouldn't fill it up, or they're just trying to put some fugazi stuff to get to the bottom of it. Immediate cut for me. So I don't even have to consider looking at those looms if someone doesn't take these steps. And two, I watch the looms and I read those answers that they filled up, because it's under pressure. And it shows me that they can actually pursue that scenario in real life before I even commit a time into an interview. So as you guys can see, like I'm splitting it into the top of the funnel of running ads, actual ads, and organically as well towards the landing page. And then once they click on the CTA, they go towards their survey. Once they finish completion, then I send some more information about our company and stuff like that. So the way you would treat your clients is the same way you would treat your A-tier sales reps and stuff that you're looking to attract. And that can goes on for VAs, operational, fulfillment, so on and so forth. We just duplicated the same approach, landing page and survey, between our marketing side, between our sales side, between our fulfillment and operational aspect too, because our standards are high and we're not going to settle it for anybody that's looking for a quick buck. So that's pretty much the standards that you need to behave on, okay? Now, step 3 is job posts, okay? You're only reliant on either Discord groups or Instagram stories. That's what you're doing right now. And that's wrong because you haven't gone through a process with someone to prove themselves before you even watch that Loom. And even when you watch that Loom, they're only telling you what you want to know, okay? Like how much numbers generated and the culture and what they're looking for. But it has nothing to do with what you value in terms of standards, cultures, and expectations. And the only way to kind of extract that is from a meeting. And it doesn't make sense to commit to a meeting just yet if you're busy, if those things are not shown to begin with. So instead, do this. Run ads to your HR landing page and have a survey. Immediate cut. You have to invest into your talent pool if you want A-tier, talent, and if you want a lower churn rate. It takes a lot of time to ramp up and train people just for them to churn for various reasons. Performance or if they see another opportunity elsewhere. 2, build connections with staff and agencies. There's a few, not all, but those people already doing all the dirty work for you, and you have an established, if you invest your time and money into them, they will get you HR prospects all the time. So that way you don't have to have your own HR side. And 3, interview reps through the month to keep pipeline full. Okay, reason why. A lot of you guys right now are only dependent on the current sales team you guys have, which means you hire a setter, you hire a closer. If things go south, you start looking for new people, your business pauses. And that's the biggest mistake you can make, okay? If you're not doing that for your customers and your acquisitions by leveraging all these different marketing sides between ads and organic and outreach to get clients, why would you only depend on one aspect or one approach to getting talent? Okay, which means when you attract, you always need to have these things going. So if one person churns, you got the other one ready to go. That already knows about the company, the standards, the expectations, all the things, they're ready to go. And that lowers the churn rate tremendously, okay? Now, the interview process, I keep it very, very simple for new hires. I split into 3 phases. Phase 1 is a group interview. I put setters alone and closers alone in different days. 4 questions per rep to diagnose language, hunger, and motivation. You will see who speaks a lot. You will see who's very shy. You will see the one that's very numbers driven and they want to show off. And you will see the ones that are, they have different approach on what they're looking for. Immediately, you're going to cut 50 to 60% of the group just from that first interview. The second phase is the round of elimination. Keep the final reps matching the ICP because now you see how they talk and what they look like and stuff. They have similar company future goals. That way you know exactly, all right, if I have this person on my calendar tomorrow taking calls, is this the type of closer or even the setter taking calls, matches, or even sets the expectation or even would exceed or excel what the current setter and closer is doing? If yes, then continue to phase 2 and phase 3. If no, you got your answer right there. Do not hire out of desperation. That's the biggest mistake. And finally, phase 3, only hire top reps, okay? Why? 99% of reps won't even pass phase 1 due to laziness. A lot of people wouldn't fill up the survey to the T. Number 2, a lot of people wouldn't even show up properly for the first interview. So now all the churn rate that would have been high down the line, you're already cutting down in the beginning. Because for me is, for setters, hire fast and fire fast. For closers, hire slow but fire fast. So you're seeing that your setter's approach has to be a lot more aggressive and evergreen throughout the whole process. Closers as well, but those take a lot more time to ramp up. That's why we want to hire slow because it's going to cost you money if they're losing deals, and it's going to cost you time if you're training them and just for them not to perform, okay? So the onboarding process material, this is pretty much what makes or break any rep. Pretty much similar to the onboarding process with your clients once they come in. This is what I do. Everything that I'm sharing here is exactly what I do and what I've done for multiple companies. I'm not just making things up. This is the stuff that actually allowed me. I've learned this the hard way, right? Because I would just get on one Zoom call, talk to one person. They say everything great about themselves. And I'm like, damn, this is the right person I need on my team. Turns out they're churning in 2 weeks. Either the work is too much for them or they feel left out because we're moving too fast, or they're just not performing. They're losing us deals. Now I'm twiddling my thumb, looking for other, reps, making group chats, this, that, the third, just wasting my time. So once they come in onboarding process, one, I need to have my offer stack ready. This is what we're selling. Okay. Two, here's the call recordings from either previous setters or closers that applied the strategies. Three, this is the framework that these people are using for the call recordings you just reviewed. Four, here's the full ICP breakdown. Okay. Avatar, demographic, psychology, X, Y, and Z. Finally, SOPs. SOPs, standard operational procedures on how to use Go High Level, how to use Slack, how to use your emails, how to use all the things in place for you to consume and start applying. And finally, the KPIs requirement. This is what's required from you as a setter in terms of dials and show rate and the bonus incentives that you get and the EOD reports and stuff like that. And then as a closer, same thing as well. All of this onboarding and ramp up material takes me 72 hours. Reason why is because I build leadership equity within the team, within my best setters and my best closers. They are present helping these new hires ramp up quicker. So now you got someone that came in, look at your landing page, understood the caliber of your company. They filled up a survey, which means they've taken the time to go through the whole process, showed up on a first interview, got cut, the ones that did leave, the ones that stayed, showed up on phase 2, you ended up hiring them, you delivered the onboarding process for a 72 ramp-up period, because obviously they should have some track record even recently with previous offers, which means they're not completely rusty, right? You have your best reps being present with the new hires to ramp up quicker. Within 72 hours, you should be ready to go getting this person on the phone or on the calendar taking meetings. If anybody says, I need longer than that, they're not cut for it. If anybody says, I'm ready to go in 24 hours, they're just too hungry to go for it, and sometimes that's too good for them, and it's going to hurt you. 72 hours is a sweet spot if you deliver it this way. And if you apply this the right way, you're going to find yourself having A+ players, or at least really good B+ players with a great system, and two, a lower churn rate and a massive pool of talent that you can always siphon throughout the, throughout your months and your seasons and stuff like that. So you're never dependent on one or two people that can make or break your business. So if this makes sense, go ahead and comment down below if you have applied this. And if you like the full breakdown, it should be on the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.